collective feelings with regards to this issue of kidnapping and terrorism. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Distinguished colleagues, I hope in the course of the public hearing, we will capture the sponsors of the kidnappers and the appropriate punishment to be given to them. And then we will also...
Informants.
Okay, Senator Wama could say something.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, Aliyu M. Wamako are my names, Sokoto knows. Mr. President, I rise to support this motion ably moved by Senate Leader, which is wonderfully presented and most timely presented. This motion, Mr. Speaker, cannot come at a better time than now, when we're fighting left and right with the issue of country terrorism and kidnapping in our dear country. And as country's lawmakers, this motion is this bill is a contribution, is a big contribution from this chamber to the government's effort in curbing the menace of insecurity, banditry, and terrorism in this country. I therefore second the motion. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Ojusa Kalo. Where is Senator Sanimosa?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ojusa Kalo. I represent Abia North. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I'm not sure that this bill brought by the leader of the Senate was a bill agreed by all of us. All 109 senators agreed in a closed session that we must get this bill across and sent to Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe it's a high time. There's no town and villages that there are no kidnappers in Nigeria. Mr. President, let me raise my case and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Well done.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I remain Abba Moro. Mr. President, I think quite frankly that this bill is a very straightforward bill. Apart from the content, it was a unanimous decision of the Senate that the Senate leader brings up this bill. And the intentment was very clear, identified, and punishments meted out appropriately. And so, Mr. President, I think that we should go ahead in the hope that a properly designated act of criminality with its concomitant punishment will act as a deterrent to the daily occurrence of kidnapping in our country. Particularly, Mr. President, this kidnapping has become a business. A business because negotiations are carried out, ransoms are paid, and so these perpetrators are emboldened by the financial benefits that accrue to their acts to continue to terrorize Nigerians. And of course, I hope very sincerely too that the foundation of this crime must be appropriately identified, even though I do not subscribe to the fact that because of certain conditions, certain persons will take laws into their hands and begin to perpetrate mayhem on the ordinary Nigerians who are also suffering the same environment. And so, Mr. President, I support this bill, and I hope that my colleagues in all will support the bill, and that justice will be done to the bill at the public hearing, and the bill passed into law to safeguard the lives and property of Nigerians. I so submit, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleague, Senator Ume.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity to contribute to the debate on this bill. Kidnapping and the gruesome murders of victims, every man of conscience to rise to support this bill. When you look at various cases of kidnapping where ransoms have been paid, running into tens, 20, and sometimes 100 million, these kidnappers receive this money and still kill their victims. We have seen this a lot of times. Therefore, people who ply this trade deserve no mercy. What we have to do is to do everything to provide the law that will brand it act of by the financial institutions, and they do not give any lead to the account owners through which these ransoms are received. Many people have gone through hell through this process. Therefore, as we go after the real identified, we have to go after the financial institutions through which these ransoms are received. Anybody, any money from a kidnapped victim must be held responsible for it. Because our law forbids by political will to implement the convictions handed down. Because people are convicted in this country and they're not executed for murder, for all kinds of things that take human life away. So somebody can go and kill. That is not the intent of this law. This law, when passed, shall be executed by those who are saddled with responsibilities by giving that authorization for the execution of people become effective. Anybody who thinks that if I do this and I'm caught, I'll be killed, will have to know that the price for it is also death. So by the time they lift their guns or whatever means to kill anybody, some people are strangled to death. Some people are strangled. So when they are got, they should know that the price is death and they cannot escape it. It's only when we begin to implement it according to the law that it will act as the deterrence for which this law is being made. I thank you, Mr. President, so that my colleagues will contribute. This is a terrible thing that we will never allow to happen to any person. We don't need to wish this thing to any person, because when you discuss with victims who manage to escape from captivity, support, I do not want to belabor it anymore. Let it be. And any soul that sailed, it shall die. That's what the Bible says, according to Shomole. Any sin, any soul that sinneth, itself shall die. So when you kill, you should die. That is the compensation for killing another person. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm so happy that I've contributed. God bless you.
Distinguished colleagues, is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? No. Let me ask again. Is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? If there is nobody who is opposed to this bill, I just want to remind us that this was the resolution of the Nigerian Senate. So it's not really something we debate. It's something we fast-track to go for see, everything you are saying here, you must say it at a public hearing and then panabit it in order to suit the situation of today. The heading, you want to change it now, or that this bill be now read a second time, say aye, and those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act as Act of Terrorism to prescribe death penalty for such offenses without option of fine or alternative sentences, and for related matters 2025 SB 969, second reading.
And Prohibition Act to designate kidnapping, hostage taking, and related offenses as acts of terrorism, to prescribe death penalty for such offenses without option of fine or alternative sentences, and for related matters 2025. Second reading taken. As a result of the importance of this bill is now committed to the committees on judiciary, human rights and legal matters, national security and intelligence. Assembly takes precedence over state laws, and as stated in our Constitution, any provision that is in conflict with the federal provision, that provision becomes null and void to the extent of the inconsistency. So for us, this is national, and we have to protect our country. We have to protect the future Nigerians. Otherwise, people will mistake being a medical doctor, being a lawyer, being a parliamentarian to being a kidnapper, because it's almost becoming like a profession. So I want to thank all my colleagues and urge that the committees involved should meet immediately and then take the views from the public and revert to us within 2 weeks because of the seriousness of the occasion. I thank you all. Yes, Senator Goje. I have stated it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Njuma Goje, presenting Gombe Central Gombe State. Mr. President, doing a former job. Mr. President, I am
Distinguished Senator Oshomole, Distinguished Senator Sadiq, Distinguished Senator Denduse, resume your seats. Resume your seats.
I am on my feet. I'm coming on order 42.
Which is the same thing you complain about.
Do I come in?
No, go on, because they are still doing it.
Do I read the order or I just go ahead?
Go ahead on the order 42. No, you can read so that people will know.
And the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate. But no controversial matter may be brought forward. Nor may debate arise upon the explanation. In terms of the proposal in detail to the President of the Senate when his leave, there and other members of the press, I want to kindly call upon you to report what really transpires in this Senate correctly, so that Nigerians will know actually what happens. We didn't fight yesterday. It was not a fight.
Well, point of order is hereby sustained. But I can tell you what will happen. Social media will say, Goje re-emphasizes. Senator Go. No. You know, but you know, I would have been a good editor in Sun. You didn't hear me? I would have been a good editor in Sun newspaper. so Goje re-emphasizes is a point of order. So I thank you for the explanation, but I hope they will hear that there is no fight in the Senate and that we're all one. Thank you for your listening. Then please, just the correspondence. We conclude refix his cabinet and continue with the fight against terrorism and kidnapping. So this is the correspondence we are about to treat. Distinguished Senator goes to Lakbabio, GCON, and then Distinguished Senate President requests for confirmation of a nominee, a ministerial nominee. In compliance with the provisions of Section 147(2) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to forward for confirmation by the Senate the nomination of Christopher Kwabin Musa as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's actually General Christopher Musa. Maybe now that he's going to wear khaki, they just put Christopher, they didn't put General. While I hope that this request will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is immediately stood down for consideration by Committee of the Whole.
My order is order 24. Mr. President, distinguished senators, my order is order 24 sub 2A. Order 24 sub 2A. Mr. President, order 24 2A. Mr. President, these rules, we gave it to ourselves on our own volition, observe it in compliance, but not in breach. And in Constitution of the Federal, which is the ground norm of the land in Section 60, gave us the powers to regulate ourselves. Pursuant to that, this rules to ourselves. And in Section 24, 26, 24, 2A and B, our rules clearly and unambiguously stated that one, it defined the office of the chief whip. It went to state the duties of the chief whip, where in very clear and unequivocal terms, it states the duty of the chief whip is to maintain order and decorum in the Senate. That is the duty of the chief whip. So, distinguished colleagues, I want a situation whereby if this chief whip invokes the power that is conferred to his office, it should be complied with without let or hindrance, so that we'll have decorum in the way and manner we conduct our proceeding, especially when we are on live television. And I still want to reiterate my earlier call for us to amend our rules, just like in the House of Representatives when I served as a chief whip. For anybody to approach the chair, he must have the permission of the chief whip first to approach the chair. That is the practice in the House of Reps. So that we can have decorum. No.
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, I can hear some people saying the chief whip is right, and I can also hear others saying no. But until the rule is amended, nobody will get permission from the chief whip to approach the chair until the rule is amended. But your point of order is sustained. Yes, Deputy Senate President.
Furtherance to the observation that was made by the Chief, I want to come under Order 55, 9, and of course 10. 9 says, when a senator is speaking, no senator may converse aloud or make any noise or disturbance to interrupt him. 10, during a sitting, all senators shall be silent or shall confer only in undertones. I think if we have been doing or observing these two orders, they wouldn't have been the need. So I call on my colleagues. This is the #1 assembly in the country, the highest assembly. So we need to make sure that we do the need for
his powers to let you know that the fact that you are doing these things without getting permission from him is not correct. So both of them are right. So we must ensure decorum. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. The third order of the day is the screening and confirmation of the nomination of General Christopher Wabin Musa for appointment as a minister of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in accordance with Section 147, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered. Mr. President, distinguished senators, in order to carry out this exercise in conformity with our standing Order 12 on floor privileges, I will move 2 motions. First, I move that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of the Whole to conduct the confirmation hearing. And 2, I will be moving
Leader, please approach the chair.
Onto the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, earlier, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has read presidential communication requesting the screening and confirmation of General Christopher Wabin Musa as the Minister of Defense. General Musa was appointed on Monday by Mr. President following the resignation of Badaru Abubakar. And now, any moment, the special advisor, so the President on National Assembly Matters Senate, Senator Lado, will lead a distinguished soldier who served as the Chief of Defense Staff from 2023 until October 2025. He was born in Sokoto in 1967 and commissioned into the Nigerian Army as a second lieutenant in 1991. He has held several appointments during his period of service, some some of which include General Staff Officer, Training and Operations at Headquarters 81 Division, then the Commanding Officer, 73 Battalion. He also held the position of Corps before he was appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff by President Bola Tinubu in 2023. So he's coming here today for the screening exercise. Will be the second time he will be appearing before the 10th Senate for the purpose of screening and confirmation. The last time was in 2023 after he was appointed as the Chief of Defense Staff, and today he's appearing before the Senate as the nominee for the position of the Minister of Defense. A motion has been taken to invite him into the chamber for the purpose of the screening exercise.
Now the Senate, do you accept that we step down the two positions there?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate leader to step down an earlier motion that was moved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do step down the confirmation hearing to enable the special advisor to get ready. Those in support of the motion say aye, and I help you out. No, you have to say